Hey, good morning. Uh, Gosh, where to start really? Um, I've had a very traumatic week, in all honesty. Um, I suppose today is the first day I actually feel okay. So, as you all know, I had COVID and I ended up in hospital and I had a lot of congestion. They did chest X-rays and ECGs, etc. I've done this in a previous video, so if you haven't um, listened to it, then or take a look. COVID was fine, and it kind of actually it was. Look, I get COVID a lot worse than other people. So Daryl actually had it after me, and he was fine within God a day, literally. He was okay. For me, it lingers and it's still there. So I've still got this congestion on my chest, which is a bit of a pain, to be honest with you. But if I hadn't have gone to the hospital, that I wouldn't have found out about this lesion on my back. And thankfully, urgent care and ED said you need to see someone about it ASAP. When I went to Molescan here in Midland, she did the biopsy and mentioned God, here we go, squamous cell carcinoma, which is cancer, and she, oh gosh, I think with her, because the time I'd left it and it was probably lingering on my back for about 9 months, it was urgent that I actually got that biopsy. So I suppose in many respects she kind of made me nervous, scared me witless, to be honest with you. Health anxiety, Mr. Health Anxiety, the worst health anxiety in the world. Look, she did the right thing. I said to her, you need to tell me the truth, what you believe it could be. And she told me, which is great, because I don't want people sort of beating around the bush, being namby-pamby about it. Just tell me the truth. What is it? We go from there. And she said, go home. You'll be fine. And I'll contact you within a few weeks. I don't know. I mean, if you don't suffer with health anxiety, you will not understand the way I am on a permanent basis. Every tiny little twinge, every single ache and pain and whatever. I had a dodgy tongue over the last few days, and my mind immediately goes to Google and it immediately goes to the worst outcomes. Say no more. You can imagine what I was picking up. Anyway, back to the biopsy. She said, go home, forget about it, get on with your life, and I'll contact you in a few weeks. Now, for me, that's not easy. Really isn't easy. When you hear the cancer word, your body, or my body certainly, immediately goes into flight or fight mode, and it panics. And from the moment I got home, I believed truly that I had cancer. And I can't describe the things that go on in your mind about your own mortality, about where this is going to end. And it honestly, I've never felt so bloody down and depressed in all my life. Well, I probably have, but in recent times, certainly not. I obviously went to work My mind wasn't in it. I worked, obviously, but it wasn't sort of. I was constantly thinking about my mortality, my death, if you like. And as ridiculous as that seems, that's the way my mind works. The biopsy site itself has been awkward, to say the least. It's in an area of my back. Now, the reason I hadn't actually gone to the mole scan clinic about it is because it's in an area of my back that I can't particularly see and I can't particularly reach. And Daryl hadn't noticed anything different. I think because at the same time I had staph and I had lots of lumps and bumps anyway, and I have got lots of lumps and bumps with cysts, etc. He didn't really think. But it was only when it started to produce pain that I knew there was something up, and I couldn't quite see it. So I got Daryl to have a look, and then he said, "Oh, it's an open sore, basically." And you know, when I was telling the lady at Mole Scan that she was, you know, those were the red flags, if you like. And so it's in a place because you lay on your back, or because you lean against a chair, or because you're constantly leaning forward or leaning back. You're constantly causing friction in that area. I mean, I used to carry my bag across my shoulder, across my back and chest. Can't do that now because it's right on that spot. And it's giving me pain, literally. And it's this. Even she said it's going to take longer to heal because of where it is, you know. And I immediately thought, well, okay, is it just me that's going to take longer to heal, or you know, have I got a problem? Is it a personal thing? Is it about me, or what? What is it? I'm constantly reading things into things. This is what health anxiety does, and it really last week wore me down totally. I was on tenterhooks all week waiting for the results. I'm thinking, I can't wait for 2 weeks. I cannot wait that length of time. But I went for the biopsy. I think it was on the Thursday. It was about 2:00 on the Thursday, and on Tuesday the actual report, the biopsy report, dropped into my health app. So I knew it was there. The biggest problem with Australia is, although it's in your personal information in your health app, you cannot access that for 7 days, because if it's a really bad prognosis, you need to be around a professional so they can give you the bad news or whatever. You need to see a professional. It kind of rubs salt into a wound a bit, because every time you see a professional, you've got to pay. You're literally paying money every time. So not only have you got that anxious weight, but you're constantly paying money. It's a lot of dosh, in all honesty. Having said that, I had this conversation with Daryl this morning, and I said, look, I'd rather have that knowing that I had COVID, I went to a hospital, all of this was done, the biopsy, you know, seeing someone, and the results all came back within a week. You can't say the same for the UK, certainly not. It would take you 5-6 weeks or more to get that information. So I don't complain. I will pay the money. I don't care. It's money. Who gives a damn? Nearly swore then, apologised, but I didn't. So I don't care about the money. And I'd rather have a health service that works as it does here perfectly well. Anyway, dropped into my health app, and I thought, oh, it's there. I immediately phoned Mole Scan. I said, look, I want my results. She said, you can't have your results because your consultant hasn't actually accessed those results yet. And, she hasn't looked at them. Simple. I said, so you can't even tell me? She went, no, it's not my job to tell you. Which is fine. My anxiety level went through the roof. I started Googling Why can't I see my results? Why can't I see them as soon as they come in and all the rest of it? And all these worst case scenarios were coming up, and it was just winding me up, something chronic. The next day, I was trying to resist phoning the clinic again, but I couldn't. So I phoned them. She said, look, no, you can't. I will get the consultant to phone you when those results are through. Don't panic. That's it. Move on. So, if you ask the people I work with all week, they probably would say I was a right miserable swine all week, walking around as though it was my last week on earth, when it wasn't. She phoned me at 5:30, and I was busy doing some end of day paperwork at the time, and she phoned me and she said, right, I've been ordered to phone you, so I'm phoning you. You do not have cancer. And the relief on my face was amazing. I'm sure, well, I'm saying it was amazing. I felt it. You immediately feel this release of pressure. She said, despite the fact it's not cancer, she said, you have, I think she called it fibrosis. So there's been something there at some stage. And it's been left, and I've had the bag over my shoulder walking to work, and it's rubbed and friction and all the rest of it, and it hasn't healed properly. That's what it is. And luckily I was on antibiotics last week as well, and so they gave me them to try, and because it looked quite angry, so they're trying to calm that down. And so that's sort of helped somewhat. I've kept it covered, and it's still covered now. I'm using betadine, which is like an iodine based ointment to actually keep it clean, and it looks okay. It's not pretty, to be fair, and it is giving me jip, but it's all right. And thank the bloody Lord, I do not have cancer. That C word is my biggest fear, and I'm sure it's your biggest fear too. I watched my dear great aunt die from cancer. Apparently my grandfather had skin cancer also. He had it on his top of his bald head. So he had a bald head like me, and they successfully removed that. There isn't really that much cancer in our family. I know my auntie had it. She died at a very young age, bless her. But apart from that, no one. I mean, my auntie Trisha on the other side obviously had a diagnosis, but apart from that, there hasn't been any. So it's not really. I mean, I was explaining this to my consultant at the clinic, and she said, "Well, you haven't got that many genetic red flags, at least." So your mind, when you have health anxiety, goes up and down. It is like a roller coaster, and you constantly think the worst, and then you think better, then you think bad again, and it's just my head is a mess, literally, and it really did affect my mental health dramatically. And someone with health anxiety, you when you get told the good news, like I was, you have this immediate relief, and probably for about 24 hours you're fine. But like I mentioned to you earlier, then I had a sore tongue, and my health anxiety came back again. It's a really, unless you suffer with it, I can't explain. I really can't explain. It is so hard to deal with on a daily basis, and it doesn't matter what it is. And I mean, I suppose if I think about it, it all goes back to, you know, the death of my mother, and watching her die, which was particularly harrowing for me, and seeing my great aunt unwell. And for the last sort of few years, I was around a lot of illness, really, and there's obviously Daryl's mother who's got cancer as well. So I suppose someone with those sort of anxieties takes on board other people's ailments, conditions as such, and that's the only way I can explain it. And I wish I didn't have it. I really do. I just don't want it. I've got to learn to cope better with it, for sure. It is a hard one because, being over here as well, you don't have that many people to talk to. I do have a healthcare plan which includes counselling, so I can see a counsellor if I want, but I don't think that's necessary. I know what the problem is. I damn well know what it is. It's just something that I need to work through, and I believe cognitive behavioural therapy tends to work, although I have had that in the past and it did nothing for me. So I don't know what I'm going to do going forward, but I'm just, at the moment, I am so thankful that I am okay. So thanks for listening as ever, and look after yourselves, stay safe and well, and I'll try and do the same. So ciao for now.